Okay, real quick, I'm going to show an example of how we make our little world projects. This is a landform test that we do in 5th grade. So the kids are going to bring home a packet like this. First thing you're going to do is undo the packet. We've got some plaster here, a Ziploc baggie, we've got a piece of construction paper, an instruction sheet, and then if you rip the back off, the students are going to have 3 landforms out of this large list that they will pick. These landforms are highlighted, and this is the research part of the project that they're going to be working on. They've already found and researched these, or they will be researching these, and that's what they will construct out of their landforms. So to make the landforms, let me go through that real quick. I like to use just an empty cup, styrofoam cup, or something that you can probably dispose of when you're done. And this can tend to be messy, so a little tip here is if you use the Ziploc bag and you cut a little scrap out of it in the corner, and then carefully you can pour the plaster into the cup. You don't have to use it all, but I'd use about 3/4 of it. Save the rest in case you need more. Do a little bit more there. I like to start off with about a cup of water, and I'll pour that right in, and then just stir. It takes a lot of stirring because you've got to mix it up, and you have to get just the right consistency. While I'm stirring, you guys can show examples of what the final products will look like. The kids are doing different landforms. They'll be cutting out what the landforms are that they're responsible for, gluing them into a colored piece of paper like they have there, and then they will be gluing them on so that we can identify which landforms they actually did. As I stir this, it takes a few minutes to stir. You want the consistency of a really thick shake. Right now, as you can see, if you guys look at the consistency, it's way too runny because you're going to be pouring that out onto that tile and then constructing your landforms. That's why I say it's good to save a little bit of the plaster. So now it's a little too thin, so I'm going to put some more of the plaster in to thicken that up. That works well to thicken it up. And again, stir, stir, stir. Now the particular landforms I'm going to be doing, these ones are pretty simple. Basic ones that I do right now are mountain. So once the consistency is a little thicker, as you guys can see, it's thicker now like a shake, I can kind of plop that down onto the tile. Still a little mushy. That's okay for these purposes. You might want it a little bit thicker than what it is right there. All of the landforms are going to have some form of water, and I tell the students to, whatever you want for the water, you're just going to leave that plain. Now start with a basic mountain. That looks like a basic mountain shape. You do need to get a little bit messy, and you can spread that around, thicken up your mountain if you want. You might want to put a little island out here. That could be an example of an island. As the paste thickens up, you can get more creative as far as the landforms that you have. This particular landform, we might want to put a river. Okay. If I were doing a river, I might take a pencil or something and just kind of wash that through. Valleys, landforms, whatever it is, you can push that up. If there was a cliff, you might use your finger. Okay, and it's going to get messy. It has to get messy. That's just the way you do it. So that's the way you let it set up in the mixture. That should set for about 24 hours to dry. Don't try to paint anything, do anything creative until it dries. This one was done on a block, but this is what it'll look like when it's dry. It's pretty hard to the touch. Here's an example of one that we let this dry overnight, and now it's ready for painting. So we did an initial paint on that of a light brown. We just used some of the colors we have in school here. It's ready for the next phase where we might want to put some blue paint on it to represent the water. So you would just actually paint the blue right onto the tile like that. And if there was rivers, whatever, be creative as you want, paint that on there. You shouldn't have any white showing when you're done. As you can see in some of the models, we use different colors, we can highlight, anything like that. But the important part is the mixture, making sure you get that right thick consistency. If you have to, you can let this set up for a couple minutes, up to 15 or 20 minutes, so that you get the thickness that you want when you do put it on your tile, and then actually letting it dry overnight. We all want to get busy and work on our creations, but it's important that you let it dry overnight so that it's hard enough to paint. And then the final step, with the colored paper, we're going to cut out the landforms that we have highlighted by the teacher. We're going to glue these on as a background, and then we'll actually glue them right onto our project when we're finished. So when we turn that in, our name, you can put your name on the bottom or the back, and you'll show me the 3 landforms that you researched, that you did for your test, and they should look something like that landform actually does. Okay, good luck.